for District 76 Board of Education meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Here.
Gagel. Here. Catherine Reagan. Val Reagan. Here. Tyler. Here. Griner. Here. Bailey.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's what bumper cars. Welcome to everyone that's in the audience tonight. We are going to skip our executive session. We have no disciplinary hearing tonight. So we will move on to our school counselor presentation.
Where would you like me to?
Where would you like to?
If it's okay, I'd sort of like be facing. I'd like to maybe be in the middle or.
Sure.
If you could come up here in the middle, that'd be
Okay.
great.
All right.
This is Amy Baird,
Yes.
B-A-I-R-D,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes. It's nice to.
Counselor down at Parkview?
Yes.
Okay.
So
All right, thank you.
try to be in a place where everybody, I guess, can hear me. Right here next to you. All right.
Now, let me, if I get this right, your mom is one of our Head Start ladies? Okay, so one day I'm walking down the hallway, she said, "Hi, Mom," or something like that.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah, I actually grew up in Creve Coeur, so I went to Central. We were kind of on the border, but so I grew up in this community as well.
Okay.
So I wrote out what I'm going to say because I wanted to really think through and you know, being kind of on the spot I don't do as well, so you'll have to bear with me. So
We don't mind.
all right. So just wanted to just say good evening. My name is Amy Baird and I'm the new school counselor. I would like to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your great district and working with the students both at Parkview and LaSalle. I feel very blessed for this opportunity. I believe this is an amazing district with great teachers and people who desire to see the students in the district achieve success. So there's just a couple brief talking points that I wanted to go over tonight. The first being the emotional, mental, and behavioral health of the students. Since taking this position in August, I've seen a significant amount of students in counseling, and that number just keeps rising. At the start of the school year and in the month of August, I had 21 student contacts. In September, I had 34 one-on-one sessions with 29 new student counseling interactions. This is just one-on-one therapy and crisis support provided. It's not as much recorded, it's just my sort of you know, day-to-day brief support that I offer to teachers or kids that kind of come in. These are one-on-one counseling sessions. And I would like to notate that almost half of my interactions relate to self-harm and suicidal behavior. I think that's important to notate. I started my interpersonal group with young ladies during the month of September, and I had a total of 76 one-on-one group student interactions during this month, which is quite a few. In October, the number jumped to 43 one-on-one counseling sessions with 124 group student interactions. In November, there was 45 students and 119 group student interactions. This month alone, I've seen over 50 students with one-on-one counseling. I'm also conducting 3 social skill groups over here at LaSalle, and I see about 7 to 8 children for emotional, behavioral, and grief support. There's a couple young people that have lost parents over there. I just felt it was important for you guys to know the numbers because I think it gives you an understanding of the true emotional, behavioral needs that we have at Parkview. And I have all that. If ever you guys want a copy of that, I can get that to you. So with that said, the issues that I am really mainly working with right now is trauma, self-harming, suicidal behavior, family issues, peer relational conflict, depression, anxiety, poverty, and low self-esteem. So that's a lot of what is going on over there that I see. Many of our young people are broken and hurting at Parkview. Their families appear to really financially struggle. And, you know, they also struggle with offering emotional, behavioral, academic support and resources for the kids, which you guys I'm sure are aware of that. So this kind of leads me to my next talking point, which relates to how I believe we can support these precious students. These are really good kids over there, and they're just hurting. They're hurting kids, and so I am really strongly encouraging like a trauma-informed model that focuses on building healthy relationships with the students. The students really need to feel loved, valued, and encouraged. And that's kind of the trauma-informed model, which Mr. Johnson has done an amazing job bringing in speakers that also support that model as well. It looks different than other types of traditional models. It focuses more on restoration, building relationships, having clear expectations with support and encouragement, and modeling healthy conflict resolution. It is about asking a lot of questions like, what happened? What were you thinking at that time? What are your thoughts about this? We really need to understand our students' voices and ask what they think. And we need to listen and ask questions. And that leads me, I wanted to read you briefly. I had one of the young ladies that I work with write a couple things that she maybe would like me to convey tonight. And one of the things that leads to what I was saying is, and this is a really good student. She's one of our better students gets good grades. She said, as a student, I would like to be listened to when it comes to punishment or even small conversations. I just wish when a kid gets in trouble, their side of the story is heard. They could have been in a situation that makes them look bad, but they are innocent. Just a little, and the teachers and the staff do a great job. This is kind of the model that I'm really encouraging the school to adopt. It's a lot of question-based interactions with the kids. So in my 20 years of mental health, I've been around for some time. I have done a lot of studying of attachments, and I have seen, you know, attachment issues play out with young adolescent teenagers. And when a young person does not have a safe attachment to their parent or their caregiver, they don't do as well with punishment-based practices. So because they don't care. I think everybody would probably, teachers and Mr. Johnson would agree that a lot of our students just kind of don't care. They don't have a caring attitude. So when you try to punish them, and when I say punishment, I mean like more like heavy consequences and stuff. They don't care, so they often don't respond well. So the trauma-informed model would be encouraging, that comes through relationship building and offering genuine concern for thoughts and feelings. It would be holding them accountable, which we need to do that, but also letting them know while we're doing that they matter and we want to hear them out. Our schools need to be a safe place for our students to establish and maintain trustworthy, valuable, and connected relationships. The superintendent, Mr. Johnson, the teachers, and the staff are doing a great job. I'm there every day. These are good people that are working in this school. I'm really encouraging a little different kind of a model in how we interact with our students. It would be a lot of affirmation-based interactions. You're awesome, you're smart, I believe in you, you can do this. So we're really just starting to push these really strong messages to our kids. And the power of these words is very great, and especially because a lot of our students don't hear these words. So when consequences are necessary, we ask them how are they learning from their choices, and this is how they learn. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to share more of the trauma-informed model, because like I said, Parkview's got great staff and teachers. But this model's a little different, and I think sometimes people don't they kind of look at it a little different. But in summary, emotionally healthier students, they're happier. And when our students are happier, they learn more. And when they learn more, they do better academically and in their testing. And so I just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what I see in my short time there. and maybe just thinking a little outside the box when it comes to how we approach our kids with emotional and behavioral support. So, and then if anybody has any questions regarding the Moms Who Care room, that kind of leads me in. This room is really designed to emotionally support our kids. It's not so much, I mean, the essential needs are good and kids need stuff, but it's more about them feeling loved, really. When they come to the room, they're loved on by our volunteers. I know that Mr. Gibbons' wife is a great support to this room, and they feel very loved. And so we're trying to give them that emotional support.
So how does that room work? Does each classroom go into that room? Are the kids
Yeah.
picked? How does that process work? Because I don't know that we understand.
That's why I thought I'd bring it up, so I could maybe clarify on some things. It's really, it's kind of, we're still feeling it out. We know it's been really good for the most part, but it's basically, we're trying to now think about opening it up one day a week. Amber and Dan are there from 9 to 2 on Wednesdays. We send out emails to have the teachers send passes to the kids who want to come. I know that was another question. This is not forced. These are for kids that want to go. And then the teacher writes the pass and they go in. And if ever you guys have a chance to come and check it out, I mean, it's full of stuff. It's really neat. And I'm also finding that kids are just wanting to come in to kind of, hey, Miss Amy, can I get a snack? And, and it's really to kind of help just boost that emotional, health. And that's really what, I mean, there's kids that come in and just don't take anything. They just walk out. And the volunteers are very loving and supportive. And, but yeah, I mean, it's essential needs. It's, hygiene, clothes, school supplies, things that, they need. Shoes, that's another, I mean, it's Mr. Weston just dropped off the bag of donations. So
How many children are participating in this on average?
I would say our last numbers, and I'd have to ask, I think 17 was 2 weeks ago. I think last week was around that. I think the most we've had might be in the 20s. I could get those numbers for you. But
Just curious.
It's been kind of consistent, and the word is getting out more. We're planning on doing little brief presentations in the classroom to kind of explain what it is. Kids are starting to hear about it more. They're starting to want to be a part of it.
Is it confidential at all? Because maybe some students, if the teacher writes a pass and everyone knows she's going or he's going.
Yeah.
Is there any way a student could go confidentially? And if they needed clothes or anything?
Right, and I think that, I think to really make it super, super confidential, we'd almost have to do a one-on-one thing. So far, if I'm honest, the feedback I'm getting, people aren't embarrassed. I mean, I kind of talked to a lot of the young people that go in there, and I'd have to ask the volunteers, but I don't think they're getting any vibes that kids are embarrassed, or they're usually very grateful.
But that may be why some aren't going.
Right.
Is because
Yeah.
they're.
Because,
Brooklyn,
they feel like maybe other kids will know that they need shoes and,
You make fun of them.
right, or just embarrassed if, their parents can't buy them shoes or something.
And I thought that. I thought that a lot, and it could be going on. I don't know the hearts or the minds of, each child, but this is, this program is in East Prairie High School.
Mm-hmm.
It's in, I think, maybe 2 or 3 Pekin schools. It's at Robine, it's at Central. So this is kind of a program that a lot of the schools where there's high poverty, they're starting to adopt this.
But isn't the one at East Peoria pretty confidential?
It runs
It
the
is.
same. From knowing Barb, who, Barb McDonald, we really model, now they have a much bigger school, population, but we model the same types of how we interact and how we get the kids there.
Right, but I think it's more confidential if you need to go in there. You could just, no one has to know. You could go in there and pick what you want or
It's-
need.
Yeah, it's through the use of the pass system, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give the teachers the freedom to write the pass, and then they get the pass and then they go to the room.
Well, Brooklyn said, my Brooklyn is in 6th grade, she said that some girl that she knows, so I asked her about, do you know anything about this mom care room? She goes, well, I know we have one, I don't know what's in it. I said, so has anyone in your classroom gone in there? She goes, well, there's this one girl, I think she might have gone in there, she had a bag, but I don't know what was in it. And I asked her what was in it, and she said, just some stuff. And she said, I don't know what was in it, but I think it might have been from that room, but I have no idea what was in it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh,
That's
okay.
good.
But
So,
yeah,
she
and I
didn't
mean-
know what was in it, but
Oh,
the
sorry.
bag looked like it was pretty full, but she
Yeah.
had no idea what was in it.
I just thought if
So,
we could do the
I
after
thought,
school, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well, no, I mean, I see your concerns. I know, like I said, a lot of the feedback I'm getting is the children are more grateful than embarrassed. But, once again, this is just what I'm seeing and observing. And I'm sure you're always gonna get a couple kids that are embarrassed, they don't want nobody to know, but having, spent years working with children in poverty, a lot of times kids are, they're actually pretty grateful and they're open. Once you get them comfortable with it, I think it was more about getting them comfortable with what it is. And then once they're really knowing what it is, now they're like, Miss Amy, can I go to the room? And now I'm like, okay, it's Wednesday at this time, so I'm trying to get them to now get more familiar with, this is the day that you go, I can't just take you up there when you want. So, not seeing a ton of embarrassed kids, but if we do, we'll address that.
I think that
And I don't want
girl-
kids to be embarrassed.
The girl that I saw in school, and it was during lunch, she comes up and she says, Mr. Wilson, look at my new shoes. And the teacher had to come to her and say, don't tell Mr. Wilson you got new shoes.
Yeah, right.
And she
I don't-
never, and she was just happy to, look at my new shoes.
Just happy to get some new
And she
shoes.
never told me where it came from. I said, oh, yeah, that's nice,
I just meant, like we were talking about, other kids might participate more, you know.
So, Deanna did mention, sometimes kids do come in together, 2 students together or whatever, and they kind of go through this stuff together. But I'm assuming they're friends, close friends or whatever, so.
So how do you schedule that so you don't get them all at once on Wednesday?
Well, it's from 9 to 2, so they're there most of the day, which is, I feel so blessed that they give up their time to be there that long. And, it's really because at this point we're doing 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, it's keeping the numbers are smaller. So we're not getting a herd of kids up there, so when we send out emails reminding the teachers that, this is 5th grade week, and then they, they kind of make an announcement, and they have the passes, and so kids can kind of discreetly go up if they want to get the pass and go up there. So it's, we definitely want to honor confidentiality. I mean, as a counselor, I don't want everybody to know what's going on, but I see a lot more benefit to the room than I do harm. And I think that's probably more the key. I mean, there's a lot of needy kids there. So, but yeah, you guys have any other questions about the room?
What about the room, that go back to your speakers, motivational speakers? Were you referring to the students or the staff? That we need more speakers in, that was working real well? Or
Well,
both?
like, Jude, I forget her, I think it's Bruner maybe, she came, do you guys?
I think it was Bruner.
Yeah,
Math.
yes, loved her. She was, and I think the teachers responded really well to her. I think they liked her. I think they could adopt, I think they desired to adopt a lot of what she was saying.
That was the restorative practices.
Yes.
Didn't mean to pipe in.
No.
That was restorative practices.
Which is how you handle this one, Steve, kind of nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's, the teachers seem really on board with this, and that's why I think the more speakers we can get in to do more trauma-informed education, I think it can make a huge difference, because poverty is a form of trauma. It's environmental kind of the issues, and so we view that as trauma, and I know this district does struggle with that in the school. And so that alone could be really almost classified as something that professionals would view as trauma. And that's just poverty. I mean, you've got broken homes, you've got all kinds of other issues in the homes. So a lot of trauma, and I think in this district. That's why I think this approach is a really good approach to these kids. It just looks a little different.
But a lot of these kids can be taught, you know, to rise above where they're at,
Absolutely.
you know,
These are good
academically
kids.
and all of that.
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Rachel, you're headed out, you've got to
Yeah.
practice, you just.
Oh,
like
I'm
to
sorry.
introduce
Yeah, I
Introduce
didn't.
yourself.
Okay, I'm the new special ed teacher. I've lost my voice, and so yeah, I'm the new special ed teacher, and I'm in the 5th grade classroom and 7th grade classroom. So I'm really at Parkview Middle School. So yeah, I'm really enjoying my experience so far. The students are very nice, and the teachers are very welcoming. So yeah,
Good to
Thank
see-
you so
good to
much
see your
for
face.
coming.
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
I hope your
Go.
voice gets better.
Yeah, me too. Have a great night.
You too.
Headed to softball practice.
Oh,
Trade
boy.
night.
Gosh.
So thank you all very much for letting me speak tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So,
We need to absorb some of this. You know, some
When I think of trauma, I think of like an ambulance or something.
You think of injury.
Right.
Injury, trauma.
different kind of injury, more emotional. All right. Does anyone in the audience have any comments regarding action items on the agenda? Okay. Moving on to action items, we need a motion for the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the, make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting dated January 16th, 2018. No, go back. Second.
Okay, any questions, comments? Roll call?
Hiddens,
Aye.
Cagle, Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner,
Hi.
Bailey.
Motion carried. Need a motion regarding the payments list.
Make a motion to approve the payments list dated January 23rd, 2018. Second.
Any questions?
I have one question.
Okay.
Under the kids, oh, no. Okay, Math Counts Foundation, we paid for registration. How many kids are going to the Math Counts? Do you know? You could answer it later. You probably have to ask, but I should have emailed you.
It's okay. What grades are, is that
That'd
in?
be junior high.
Junior
I
high.
don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would say between 10 and 14.
Awesome.
That's good.
That is
That's
great. That is
approximate,
like,
but-
wow.
Is that after school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturday
Is that-
usually.
Yeah, that's good because there
Good.
were times it was no one was
That-
going.
Right,
Yeah.
or 2 or 3,
That's why I was
so.
kind of wondering when I seen this.
Okay, any other questions?
I have a question about the Verizon bill, which is something you can get back to me on too. I just noticed it went up $10 this month. I just wondered why.
Where are you at?
It's check number, it's next to the last page, 20183.
Okay,
Midway down.
Yeah, I have it down, Verizon, I believe that's
$60
the
and 24
call-in
cents.
phone.
So,
Actually, that phone's working out real well for us, as far as the way it's
See
working.
why it jumped up $10, it's been running around 50 and it jumped up, so.
Not sure, we can check on that.
okay. Any other questions, comments?
Please just don't let it snow anymore.
Yeah,
Snow removal is
snow removal was up
Yeah.
there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Has to be done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not a choice.
And they were dumping salt, it looks like,
I
too.
don't know if it's any more expensive than last year.
Oh, I don't think so.
Last year was, yes it was.
Yeah.
Snow last year.
Exactly.
All right, roll call, please.
Hiddens,
Aye.
Cagle, Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner,
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report dated December 29th, 2017.
Second.
Any comments, questions? Roll call.
Hiddens,
Aye.
Cagle, Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner,
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding LaSalle activity report.
I make a motion to table the December LaSalle School Activity Fund report.
Second.
Yeah, we have December, but we didn't get November, so
Oh,
I think we
okay.
need to go back and let's make sure November is right, so they should both be in your packet for next month.
Okay, I got a question on
Well-
that, so.
Mr. Johnson, can you get us?
Yeah, we'll have Parkview for you for the
Yeah,
next meeting.
meeting.
Great.
Yes.
Say November's,
November's
the
on
thing?
the table.
yeah, it was at the table when you had a chance to go through it.
Right.
So we'll put that back on the agenda for next meeting, please. Roll call on that.
Giddens,
Aye.
Cable, Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner,
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the bus lease.
Make the motion to approve one lease
Keep going,
for a
you're doing
passenger
fine.
school bus with a 4-year lease payment at $12,866 per year. But does that minus the $500 for the first year?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what the contract said.
Second.
It's not one of our normal motions, so it's,
Yeah.
okay. And we are turning in bus 3, if anyone is interested. I assume it's,
That a long time.
assume it's the one with the most miles or the oldest. I'm not sure how they figure that. Okay, any other questions on the buses? Specs are in there. Someone went through them very carefully.
And they're detailed,
They are very detailed, yes.
which someone might have no 65-gallon fuel tank. Oh, I did have one question though. On the quote, it says 15,000 miles per year. Do we ever go over that?
I think our buses, when we turn them in, they have about 20 on them, so they go about 5,000 a year.
Oh, awesome.
We have
So only
very low.
5,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering, did we
I
ever
want
go?
to say right at 20,000 or something. 4 years, 5,000.
Oh, for the whole 4-year period,
Yeah.
you're saying?
Right.
Okay,
So we're
No,
just.
never,
Okay.
we never go over them.
that's hard to
So it's
follow.
not an issue.
Got it,
No.
all right.
Non-issue.
Roll call, please.
Giddens,
Aye.
Cable, Val Reagan,
Aye.
Tyler,
Aye.
Griner, Bailey.
Aye, motion carried.
I know, exactly. You might as well put an extra 10,000 on. For the gas we budget for.
All right, Mr. Giddens, we need a motion for first reading of.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of policies numbers 2:100, board member conflict of interest, 2:210, organizational school board meetings, 2:260, uniform grievance procedure, 3:70, succession of authority, 4:15, identity protection, 4:70, resource conservation, 4:180, pandemic preparedness, 5:70, religious holidays, 5:80, court duty, 5:110, recognition of service, 5:120, employee ethics, conduct, and conflict of interest, 5:120, period, 001, cell phones, 5:210, professional personnel resignation and retirement, 5:230, maintaining student discipline, 5:285, drug and alcohol testing for school bus and commercial vehicle drivers, 5:300, schedules and employment year, 5:320, evaluation, 6:70, teaching about religions, 6:80, teaching about controversial issues, 6:180, extended instructional programs, 6:185, remote educational programs, 6:210, instructional materials, should be 6:235, period, 001, The cell phones again, I think we deleted
You
one of
deleted
those.
it, yeah,
Yeah, we deleted one of those.
that one that you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the exact same.
And 6:290, homework. 6:330, achievement and awards. 7:80, release time for religious instruction / observance. 7:100, health, eye, and dental examinations, immunizations, and exclusion of students. 7:160, student appearance. And 8:70, accommodating individuals with disabilities.
Second,
Okay, any questions?
I've got a couple, sorry. Okay, the first one is 5:285 about educational support personnel, drug and alcohol testing for school bus and commercial vehicle drivers. I thought in our contract we also had like a procedure for drug and alcohol testing for school bus drivers. I mean, does it, I just want to make sure that we're not
Overstepping.
overstepping the contract.
I know it's in there.
Just that you follow state law.
This is
Yeah.
state and federal.
Yeah.
This is gonna.
Yeah,
It's gonna trump.
Superseded.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure that we're not
No,
gonna
it's a
get in
good
trouble.
question.
Ours might be more strict because I know that we also
Mhm.
said if they got in an accident or anything, they would have to go get tested. So we need to make sure that that stays in place.
You have to. State law.
I'm just saying. Okay, and I have one more question. I just don't understand it. 7.160, student appearance. I'm not understanding this sentence where it says, standards of health, safety, and decency. Okay, procedures for handling students who dress or groom inappropriately will be developed by the superintendent and included in the student handbook.
Developed.
Well, that's why I'm just, so it means that we don't have anything developed? Or should it say that will
It's
be,
developed.
just leave it developed?
Well, we have a student handbook.
Well, why don't we just put will be,
Follow the student. handbook.
well, followed by student handbook? I don't know, I mean, what, it's like, it's, to me, when you say developed, there's no rules yet. It's developing.
Should be developed. Let's say that.
Yeah, so I'm just like, so how's the parent gonna know? They're gonna think, why, does he change his mind weekly?
That's true.
Are developed?
Or not even put that in there,
Okay.
Are included in the handbook.
right,
Okay.
or you could put this, are established by the superintendent and included in the student handbook.
I like that. Are established.
Cause it's like it's already there in place.
so I guess we're changing that sentence exactly.
Taking out will be developed and put are established.
Mrs. Walton, did you get that?
Well, since I can't see the policy of somebody writing
Here,
it
take
down.
mine.
You write it out, like you want it, and I'll change it.
Mrs. Kylie, did we get everything? I saw you checking it off with your.
I think so.
Okay, that was good.
Um,
Each one of us had something different we were checking off, so.
The ones that we had questions on, do we bring that up now or?
If you want to,
Established by.
the crowd and the other will wait till later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did discuss also maybe creating a checklist for registration. So I don't know who would be the appropriate person to work on that, to ensuring that we're including everything that we should during registration. Because I know we talked about also having like the photography consent signed, and we kind of went into that discussion also.
Well, there is a committee that meets in the spring on the handbook. That- Not you too, but that's probably where that needs to go, because there is an AP, a checklist. Do you guys already go through that? You know,
I mean, like the photography's on the registration form. When they sign the registration form about their
Mhm.
pictures, counseling, all of that.
all of that in the handbook. Right. I'm gonna guess that AP needs to be copied for everybody that's on that handbook committee, so that you guys can use it as a checklist. The state provides it, we might as well use it.
Okay.
So that's what she's referring to.
And we'll be updating that next meeting,
Uh-huh.
the AP.
Yes.
The other thing we had, which Randy, I don't know if you wanna, are we waiting for the injury form?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a totally different
It's
one.
already in the packet.
So that one, and then also holding the solicitations by and from staff, so that was another one that we put on hold. So that was it. for questions then.
Any other questions? Okay, motion for approval of the first reading and seconded. Roll call, please.
Gittens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Delregan. Aye. Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Baylor.
Aye. Motion carried. Written communication. Reminders of upcoming events. Our next regular meeting is February 13th. Just want to remind everyone that there's only one meeting in March. We think we can get everything done that we need to do. Because if we were going to RIF, that has to be done in March. And I probably won't be here for that meeting. I thought I'd throw that in too, so.
Guess we'll have to have two then.
No, just gonna throw that in there. If we need another meeting, the 20th is before break, so we actually could do it then. Okay, I think break is the 23rd, Easter break, so. All right, we need to decide by next meeting what we want to do. Information that I forgot to forward to everyone. I did ask Shelley about the lights. We talked about how much it was costing, approximately $800 a year to replace the light bulbs and the ballast. Yes. So,
Not as much as I thought.
that is not including labor, of course, but that is just the bulbs. And that's all I had. Are there any presentations or suggestions by board members?
I do have a suggestion.
Okay,
At the retreat, we briefly talked about the scoreboard at Parkview. Wonder if we could use the electrical from the water tower and have it trenched. I believe the scoreboard to the water tower is less distance. So that might be something we need to look at to see if we can reduce the cost on that. Other option is to use a generator. You get a small generator, I don't know how much it pulls, but something to look into. There's no sense in it sitting there if we can't use it.
Line from the water tower. We talked about that with the water, they wanted water out there. I think that,
Water tower's on Parkview property, so.
the village
I know,
takes care of it, but
Right.
well, they will be painting that water tower within March, April sometime. And I've often thought, we talked about painting that thing. I don't know how they're gonna paint it with ropes, and it's gonna be quite an ordeal.
That might be something to ask
probably
them.
won't be a lot of learning going on this few days, you think? Kids on that side of the
They're actually gonna drape it with a
Oh, are they?
net, so you really won't see them.
Okay, that's pretty good.
They're gonna have a net.
Hey, Mr. Bailey,
Yes,
the lighting at Parkview, we gotta get to moving on that fast, 'cause March, it's too late.
I can talk about that.
Okay.
and Savannah did email us her, comments from the, conference.
Very good.
All right. She was very interested in several things. All right, reports from the administration. Mr. Whiston, go for it.
I'm gonna kinda lead in and let Nick and Steve talk. I might just mention things that they wanna talk about them. I know Nick had reading night, January 25th. That same night, we had a DARE assembly at Parkview, two nice things. Steve missed class that night. I did not miss class, so I did not go to either one of those. Hate missing that. But that was Thursday night last week. Superintendent's meeting tomorrow with the East Peoria people. I'll probably, hopefully, we'll come back with a schedule. We're gonna look at schedules, calendars for next year. Calendars for next year, not schedules. calendars for next year. I've already got a couple of theirs, what they're looking at, but we'll see what we get from. We did, Randy brought up the lights down at Parkview. They're finished. We did get a bid from Steve's group, Steve Smith. We got that bid, you know, it's never changed much. I think you guys remember, I think it was gonna cost around $37,000, $38,000. We were gonna end up paying 18, 19, 20,000. That's what the total cost was. We did get a second person give us a bid. Titan Lighting out of Bloomington came back about double that. They said with everything similar, it was gonna cost us 36, 37,000. It was about double what the other one was. Now, I do have a guy coming in here, Brandon McCracken. You all said go to CTS, talk to a guy at CTS. He says, we don't do lighting as a rule. We just get people to do it for us. And they have a company out of Burlington, Iowa, who does most of their lighting. Talked to a guy, and he is super, super organized. The only, probably shouldn't say this, but if they say, tell me something, I don't want to hold back on anything. We were talking about the type of lighting, and he says, well, you know, I said, well, here's the lighting that the guys proposed. They're a James light, and he came back a couple days ago and he said, I'm not putting Steve Smith's group down or whatever, but he said the James lighting is tier 3. I said, well, explain that to me. He said tier 1 is GE, Sylvania, some of these, and then they have a tier 2 that's an off-brand of Sylvania and this. And he said, then you have your kind of made in China that don't really, and he said, this group that you guys are getting for 18, they're coming from China. The lights are coming from China. Don't know if that's good or bad, but he said that's their tier 3 light.
And that's a good reason you get different quotes.
Yes. Yeah. So he actually, I think, he'll give us, he said, I can tell you how much energy savings there will be per room. I'm like, that's very detailed. But I'm sure they have, he says, you want me to quote tier 3, tier 1. I said, we might get a couple quotes from you so we can see.
Apples versus.
Okay, when is he coming?
He's coming February 5th. Hopefully he'll give us a quick estimate after that of what it would cost. And he said he'd love to talk to the board. I mean, these are lighting guys, so of course they're trying to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
But he's coming. I'm excited to get him here. He'll be the third bid because the second bid was high. I have a feeling he might be high too. He said, I said, are you too late to get these bonuses or paybacks? And he said, we can get those. He said, we can get those. They're out there, we can get them. So that's going to happen. We'll keep you informed on that. There is a CLC meeting. Kat went to the last one with us. We meet at East Peoria, the principals. It's really a community group. They want to get parents, they want to get principals, they want superintendents, but it's nice to get parents in there. If any board members would like to come this Thursday, 8 to 11, East Peoria Junior High, that's where they always have them. We'd love to have you there. Not going to steal Steve's thunder. I think he's got Brad Ware, FBI guy, coming in.
Yes.
Speaking the 9th. Real quickly, I should probably just give you this so you can look at this. Should be 3 there at least. What I'm reading. If you go down to the bottom of the page, we had talked about going and visiting other schools. And I called Monroe School, talked to their superintendent. He said, you know, I said, we'd like to come see what you're doing. You have great scores, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I think it'd be better if you just brought a principal and yourself down the first time. You know, I said, you probably don't want to bring teachers yet. Let's just come down and meet with the principals. We have not got a meeting with Monroe yet, but Norwood, we plan on going over there the same day Bradley Wares comes to the FBI, February 9th. The reason I want to go to Norwood, they're very similar to us. You know, we're 75% low income, they're 57. Their park scores are 28% meeting the next level, we're 12. So they're double us with the number of kids, percent of kids that are meeting. Student mobility, I found that very interesting. We talk about our kids coming and going. They said we have our kids, we have lots of kids coming and going. IEPs, 18, 19, ours have probably gone up. That's what ours was on the report card that came out, the state report card. So that's kind of where we're at.
If you look at our park scores, I know that's kind of, I don't want to dwell on those, but ours was 12%, Norwood's was 28, Monroe's 56. I did get a nice email from one of the board members that saw, it came out on one of the Peoria, it's called the Peoria Standard, whatever that is. It's just an internet-based thing, and I think that if I can look it up, says, do you know what if your school is among the 10 worst park scores, 10 worst schools, I think it said 10 worst schools in the area, Peoria area for park scores, 10 worst, 10 lowest. And when I saw number 1, I thought, oh, 1's good. And I said, no, 1's bad, because number 1, you're the bottom. But it is on park scores, and if you ever hear students ready for the next level, that's his park. That's what they say park is. So that's where our park scores are. We have nowhere to go but up. The reason I think I want to go to, one other reason I want to go to Norwood, there's a lady that's speaking over there. Her name is, if I can get this, Donna McCall. I know Donna. She's worked for some of the schools I've been with. She doesn't always tell you what you want to hear. She just tells you the way it is, and she's very blunt. The Norwood principal told me, he said, she's not on purpose become our curriculum director. He said, when she comes in, talks to our teachers, our elementary teachers love her, junior high teachers, would rather not have that. But yeah, I think that's, could be how,
So they've hired her?
They hire just days, every SIP, he said, every SIP day we have her ever. She's our, not what we want her to be, but somehow she's become our curriculum director, just because she's.
Okay.
So she just works independently, she's not out of the ROE or anything?
We
So-
really might want to talk to her.
So we'll talk with her, I think, and, I said, can you come here this year? I've got 2 dates, SIP dates, might be good to have you in here, and she says, I can't come on the streets, I'm booked. So I know she's booked and busy, but Norwood's used her, the other schools used her. But we'll go to Norwood first, go to Monroe second, and Mick and I think, are gonna be the 2 that go. See what they're doing,
It's a good idea. We haven't done it yet.
but we will. I'll keep going.
That's right, no principal.
What's that?
Don't be gone long.
2.5 hours, no longer
It'll
than
be in the
2.5 hours.
afternoon, so maybe we can squeeze it in the afternoon. That's kind of, it's SIP day.
It's either that or Mr. Johnson's gonna have to go to LaSalle and be principal there too.
You said it's a SIP day?
It's a SIP day.
It's a SIP
Oh,
day.
Oh, it's a SIP day,
Okay.
okay.
All right,
We're
that's
fine.
good then, all right.
It's a SIP day. Intercom, and I put this, Mick can talk about it, Intercom is working. We had a room, I want to say, for 2 years, we've had a room that wasn't connected by office to room. It was connected, but it wasn't working, so we did not have one of our rooms connected. It was a huge concern to this teacher that, if there was a lockdown, that she's out in the dark. We did get it fixed yesterday for the first time, and this guy was here for the 3rd time. I said it's going to be 50-50 where he gets it fixed. I don't think he'll fix it. It's old system. Got in there and fixed it. And Mick did stay. I left. I said, Mick, stay here with him till it gets fixed. And he even fixed the one in the speech room too. Got a nice comment about our volleyball coaches. You don't usually get those about the buses were cleaner than they've ever been. I've been here driving a bus for this many years, clean as a bus has ever been. The coaches were great. So got a nice comment on the volleyball coaches. Look at the others, you can read the others. Principals, whoever wants to go first. It's important to this team.
M comes before S, are we still doing it that way, or?
Second meeting of the month is.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah.
Johnson,
Okay.
you have the second meeting of the month.
All right.
Remember that. Isn't the last always the most important?
Yes. Last but not least. He's always very organized. Ooh, these are warm.
Okay, I was wanting to ask how much her enrollment was, and I didn't want to put you on the spot.
I can tell you exactly.
260.
I think our,
We have it.
right, but enrollment for the district is right at 585, 586. Close to, and we were just right at 600 last year, so.
Okay, The board had requested some information concerning the status of the 10-year health life safety report
Yes.
and actual work completed. The top area of this report shows the actual work items that have been completed. And then the next section are the actual other work items that we've sent work requests over to the office to be completed. Of these work items in the second area, most of these, now Toby can come in and do a few of these. You're gonna see some areas here, replace the existing emergency lighting, backup lighting output. Toby has come over, he's looked at that. I know that we believe Toby can do that. But there are most of these areas that are listed, we're probably gonna have to get a contractor in to get done. And I was
On that second page, right?
Yes, it's on that second page. And then looking at the rest of those items on section A that need to be completed this year, didn't look like there were really outstanding substantial items, but looked like most of those remaining items that have not been addressed as being either completed or with work orders being sent over. Again, those remaining items we're probably going to need to get a contractor in to get those done. Looking at the calendar, we have spring break. It's really not that far off, and that may be a timeline that if we can get things worked out logistically, maybe we can get a lot of work done over spring break on the 10-year health life safety report.
And it has been approved by the state now, correct?
Yes, yes, both schools.
Okay, and we've moved the money over, so the money is in the safety fund.
I'm not 100% sure about that. Who got that check?
Still down here, we did.
Did, okay.
A couple times removed, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We did
Makes
for
sense.
that because it was said because of the life safety and that.
right, and I
Yeah.
think what we just approved, it showed.
So we need to get bids on this stuff, or how does that work?
You actually.
We can.
Well, doesn't our architect do that for us?
Get bids.
Uh-huh.
I would say he hasn't been.
He has not been involved. He's going to charge. He's going to charge us to do that. The work items that have been completed, to where contractors have come in,
You've done it.
we've called those.
Okay, that's fine.
We've called those in.
You've got
We're
the
trying to
time.
save money, so.
You've got the time to do it then.
Mhm.
We have got contacted him a couple times, who's he recommended to do this type of thing, and he's given us some names,
Mhm.
but we've asked.
Mhm. Okay,
Have
so.
we, were we going to get quotes for the boys locker?
I thought we were gonna look at quotes and
Yeah.
an architect maybe come in and look at it, see if we could
Yeah.
redesign it.
Yeah, Jim Hollenbeck. I think Jim was at a board meeting this fall, and Jim had been he was at Parkview School. I called Jim this afternoon, actually. He said that he would have some numbers on February the 6th, I believe. February the 7th, Wednesday, February 7th, he said he would have some options and some numbers that can be provided to Mr. Whiston and the board. So you're getting close to being able to have some some options to look at and also some numbers.
And I think he's also probably looking at the girls' locker room and boys. I think we keep talking about boys, but maybe we don't, he will give us that one, I think.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
that's an option. Okay, that should be ready for the packet then. So just FYI to you.
Yeah, February the 7th, Jim said that he would have those ready.
And if he doesn't, then I think we need to look around. Okay,
Right, or get, yeah, even like
Well,
that
we do that,
CTS
but
group,
exactly, somebody
they
else.
do designs.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
see.
sorry, Mr.
No,
Johnson, I interrupted
not
you.
at all. No.
You say look around for an architect?
Yep.
That
I was
gets
trying
real-
to say
that
it
gets
quietly,
tough.
but
Oh, we know.
Yeah, that's,
I can get a second
And
opinion though.
If we have
But there's a lot of
CTS come in and
steps.
do the lighting quote, I believe that gives us, we've already had dealings with them, and I think we don't have to do the bid process.
Right, you can just
Exactly.
come and do it.
And we've already had
Get them
dealings
in here.
on the lighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Health life safety visit, Rob Houchin was in today, the fire marshal was in today as well, and they completed the annual health life safety. Walkthrough went well. We had 3 areas that were noted over at Parkview this afternoon. We had 2 classrooms to where we had some, what I call minor daisy chaining, to where we have some outlets connected together. The cords were good. As Mr. Houchin noted, he said, you've got good electrical cords, but we can't be daisy chaining. So we had 2 rooms we need to look at there. The other area, we had a classroom to where Mr. Houchins recommended that we put a, it's a rubber strip or a plastic strip that's over an extension cord that keeps the cord from being a trip hazard. So those were really the things that came up today. Nothing significant, as I reported Mr. Whiston today, so we're reasonably pleased with that. Mr. Whiston had asked me to ask the board, to talk to the board about the 6th grade field trip. The 6th grade class, I should say the 6th grade teachers, they are
Steve, I'm gonna butt in. I know second step program. I don't know who you had in there the other day, but that guy was doing a wonderful job. He was talking to those kids in the cafeteria and even the teachers. Becky, you were in there, I think.
His name's Mr. Larson, he's from the Center for Prevention of Abuse.
Very good speaker. I mean, the kids were very engaged. Sometimes when you bring those people in, it's a little, sometimes it can be a waste, but not him, he was very good. I want to compliment him.
Good. Mr. Whiston had asked me to present this to the board on behalf of the 6th grade teachers. The 6th grade teachers, they're interested. Last year, the 6th grade teachers took their students to the Abe Lincoln Museum. The 6th grade teachers are interested in taking their students to the Abe Lincoln Museum again. The 6th grade teachers, they did write a grant. However, the grant, they did not get the monies. There were monies available through the grant if you were selected to pay for transportation. We don't have the grant, we did not get the grant for that. But if the students, if they were able to attend prior to March, there's no student admission charge. The students would get in the museum free of charge, but there would be a transportation cost. So we have a field trip request here that the 6th grade teachers have requested to take students on the field trip on February the 13th. And I wanted to bring this to the attention of the board. And
Is that gonna be district drivers? Or is that-
yes,
It almost has to be because they're leaving at 9 and coming back, returning here by 2 o'clock.
That was a grievance we got filed on last year.
Well, I'm just thinking they're only gonna be there like 2 hours.
this is a very similar timeline that they used last year. I think
They were back before school.
But they
started.
came
That
back
was the-
early last year because of the weather.
Yeah, they said they weren't gonna come back until like 4 o'clock last year. Because that's why we got houses on bus drivers.
We'll keep it within district.
I just don't know, I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but if they're only gonna be there for 2 hours, it's worth.
We
Has-
used to do the field trips. Was it New Salem?
Yeah.
You probably weren't there over 2 hours.
the museum, have you been to the Abe Lincoln Museum before? Very
It's wonderful, it is.
Great,
I don't know if
it's
you
a
get
great
there.
place.
It is wonderful. It is
Um,
wonderful,
So get through what they get through then.
right.
Do we have an estimated cost for transportation?
It'll just be our drivers and, you know,
Gas and,
gas and.
How many bus drivers would you need though? I mean, how many kids are there?
2, probably.
We have 54 students going and staff.
That's not.
Did you say 2 buses, Steve? I think.
I think we would need 2 buses
Yeah, with 54
for 54
students,
students
yeah.
and chaperones.
At least it's not 3.
I'd say,
Me too.
Mr. Giddens?
I don't like the 2-hour part, but they can get through. The museum's not that big.
Well, I don't know why they're not leaving till 9.
Yeah,
because the drivers
9's kind
won't
of
be
late.
back.
Oh.
Probably.
What's that?
Drop
Your
us out.
bus has, buses have to
Yeah.
get back and get ready.
They're being
We could leave
accommodating.
by 8, I think we may be able to leave by 8:30 in the morning. We could bump it back,
Yeah, so
so to
give
speak,
them a
to
little bit of
Because
8:30.
time
the
down
tours
there.
don't start till 10:30, so.
Maybe that's why then.
Maybe.
Yeah, it is.
But that gets them in to look at some of the stuff.
Is
They
this,
got 3 rooms to go into?
What'd you say?
I said that would give them, if they can't get in until 10:30,
Right,
I give them 2 hours,
right.
not what do they eat lunch?
And they're gonna eat lunch during that time, yeah.
And be back, they'd have to be back at
Take to McDonald's and get an ice cream cone.
will this be their only field trip this year?
They actually took a trip to the Riverfront Museum earlier this year. They went to a laser light show. That was last fall.
Are we gonna run into a problem with one grade get 2 programs? I don't either.
Okay. What do you think? Let's see, you said yes, yes, yes.
I'm fine with
No, already 3 said yes.
Might as well be fine with it, huh?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I would like to see them go on longer, but
I have concerns with 2 buses being gone at once, but, okay. As soon as we get this, I think you have the majority of the board saying yes, as long
Okay.
as it's our drivers, leave as early as you can, get that. But as soon as we get this crowd policy, crowdfunding policy, maybe they could do a GoFundMe for
Sure.
the transportation.
Sure.
They could stay longer and get outside,
Sure.
maybe,
well, you know, go to the other part, like New Salem Park or
right,
something.
or something.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Enjoy the whole
Didn't
day.
mean to get off the
Nope.
subject, but,
Absolutely.
okay.
Thank you very much. The 6th grade students and teachers will greatly appreciate that.
And I've heard it's very good, it's educational. All right.
Last Thursday night, the 5th grade held their graduation, their DARE graduation. Want to compliment our students, our 5th grade students, our staff as well. Our staff were heavily involved in organizing that graduation event, and our local police department. They provided balloons, they provided certificates, pens, really a nice, fun evening. I thought we had a good turnout of parents who came in, and at the end of the night, we had some cookies and punch. So it was just a fun, and the mascot, Darren, the police department brought the DARE mascot, Darren, in, all dressed up, and he was commenting. He said, "Man," he said, "it's hot in this suit." I said, "Well, you're lucky it's not in the summertime, or it's not in the fall." I said, "It'd be a lot hotter." But anyway, nice evening, nice program, and the students were recognized for completing that curriculum. And
How many students were?
we had guesstimated, I think we had about approximately 70% of our students
That's
there.
great.
Approximately, I would say approximately 70%. So, pretty good turnout.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of fun. I think the students had a lot of fun. In service, last Friday we had an in service. We were multitasking. We had a really good presentation provided through Tazewell Mason Special Ed. Amber Ely was in the building, and she did a nice discussion on some co-teaching practices. We talked about that at the building level. And Tazewell Mason, after we had a discussion, and we talked about some issues that we're currently having right now with co-teaching. And as we talked at the retreat, we talked about planning and the lack thereof of quality planning time. So we talked about that, and the staff who attended, they basically wrote, here are the good things that are going on with our co-teaching, here are some challenges, and here are some barriers that we have. So we had some good discussion in those 2 areas, and then Tazewell Mason, they forwarded some information on helpful hints for scheduling co-teaching, the co-teachers. So we're hopeful that we can actually use that as we build our schedule for next year to make that an even better process than what it is. Mrs. Turner, she reviewed the math data with our students, or I'm sorry, with our staff. And then Mr. McCormick and Mr. Whiston and I, we sat through a curriculum committee meeting, so we had a good conversation. Mr. McCormick done a really good job as far as contacting some companies, and we're starting to get some presentations in. So I'm really appreciative of Mr. McCormick doing that. On February the 1st, we have our all-school spelling bee at 8:30 in the gym. That's coming up. And on February the 7th, we have our next faculty meeting. Harvey Harrington will be in. He's going to visit personality profiles. And as Mr. Whiston mentioned earlier tonight, on February the 9th, Brad Ware from the FBI will be in and will be providing an internet safety student presentation. And then, believe it or not, on February the 16th, East Peoria High School teachers will be at Parkview, and they'll start talking about high school stuff, scheduling classes and athletics and all that good stuff. So, making some plans already for the end of the year.
And let us know when there is a possible expulsion hearing, when you get the results. That's all I
Yes.
needed to know.
Yes.
Any questions?
I guess the only thing I'd like to comment on is the DARE. That DARE is a great program. If what you're saying is true, these kids need to be talked to about alcohol and drug abuse, because they've probably just seen some of that. But I guess my question, I'm not saying we do it this way, but a lot of schools do it during the day. Now, the advantage of doing it during the day, I'm guessing, is 100% of students are there. You don't have that 30% missing. Maybe a disadvantage would be you have less parents, so, because what I found is a lot of the grandmas, parents will come, maybe 20% if you have it during the day. The only thing, every kid gets to go through it. So that's the only, that would be something maybe we should look at. What do we do next year for it? Continue to do it, it's a great program. If we do it during the school day, every kid gets to go through it. I don't know if that's good. That's a good thing. Parents,
We always had it during the day before, but you're right, there were very few parents there, so we need to get our parents involved as much as we can.
It's great to have that.
Randy, you were
program
there. I wasn't there, so I should.
Yeah, I was there, and it was a good turnout. The kids were great. The kids really enjoyed it. They were all participating. They're all a team. I see a team out there in the middle of the floor.
Wow.
And unless I may have missed it, but I wasn't aware that you approached Chief King to find the DARE program and bring it back to Creve Coeur. I think he sent the instructor to Chicago area to take the course. And
We
the police
tried
department
for
brought it
years
back.
to get it back and couldn't, so
So,
Good program.
it is.
Kudos.
It's nice that the parents even came with them.
Yes.
Parents were very proud too, of their kids.
More
Well,
programs
and
like
that's what
that.
we keep saying.
Yeah.
certificates were
Get 'em
really,
in.
I only got to see them from a distance. They were nice.
They were, and the police provided those, yes. Okay?
Thank you.
Wonder if we could do something during the day a little bit. and then-
You could do both, yeah.
Yeah,
Do it out.
right.
It's coming up. Oh, we want to do something for all the kids next day.
Right, to try to get them all involved.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. McCormick, you feeling better?
Yeah, took a few days, but, thank you.
I've heard the flu's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've been missing a few teachers lately. Couple things, I did send a note to the meeting I missed about ECE and the potential need for an assistant due to numbers. Numbers have changed. I'm now expecting 3 more by the beginning of March. I talked with Dr. Jex about it, and he said, we'll have no problem keeping them in one section, that mean at AM as opposed to PM. We'll need an assistant for part of the day there.
Don't we have openings in the PM? Don't we have openings in the PM?
Well,
Or maybe the AM we had openings?
we're gonna be somewhere around at 8 in the morning and no more than 5 in the afternoon, so we won't need an assistant in the afternoon. Yeah, right now we're at 5 and 4.
Okay,
It
yeah,
doesn't
so
matter
I
what we do, we're gonna be over
Okay.
the numbers.
We're at 5 and 4 now.
Yes,
So you're needing an assistant.
at least a part-time one for the mornings.
So what's the number cutoff for an egg?
5. They're okay with 5.
Okay.
It's when they get to 6 is the issue. And we're getting another one, which would have put us at 5 and 5. Right now, we're 5 and 4. We would have been 5 and 5 and could balance that, but with 3 more coming, there's no
Right.
way around that.
Are we sure they're coming?
Dr. Jackson tells me they are. In fact, 3 of them are dual enrollment with Head Start. So they're already in the building for part of the day.
Okay. We need to post.
Okay. I'll get with Stephanie on that and we'll follow contract guidelines because
Full or part-time?
Yeah, we're gonna do half,
That's all he's asking for.
Yep, that's all we need is in the morning.
but it's gonna be hard to find one.
Because you're talking 3 hours.
So I bet we could use that aid somewhere else for the other 3 hours.
absolutely.
Maybe that could be a discussion.
Uh-huh,
Mhm.
okay. So full-time,
Okay,
maybe only part-time in that way.
right. And I believe by contract, don't we have to allow anybody currently the opportunity to switch positions?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay, so we'll do the 5
Well,
days.
you read the contract, I'm not sure.
We have to post it internally.
Yeah, you have to post it
Internally
internally.
first.
We have a custodian that wants to be a.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
Which would
They
be
need, they
quicker.
need certificate though.
Yes.
Some
You
of
have
them
to
do
be
have it.
qualified.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Tutoring starting next week. We sent out 40 invitations. Right now, we have 23 that were absolute yeses, 2 nos, and evidently there's 15 hanging out there, which they're past, a couple days past the deadline, so we're gonna send out some more invitations now. Health, life, safety inspection today went very well for us as well. Rob Houchin was very appreciative. He's caught most of the things the last couple of years evidently. I did have 4 items I needed to put in work orders for. Probably the only, what I would call major one is we have a room that does not have a fire detector in it that needs it. So,
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did that get by?
it was in the computer lab, so it's possible they didn't notice it because we had the cabinets and everything else in it. Well, if you remember, 3 years in a row, he found an extension cord going up into the ceiling for a projector. He found 2 one year, the next year he finds another one, the next year he finds another one. So next year he'll probably find another room without a fire
Okay.
detector, but we'll get that taken
Okay,
care of. I've already put in
definitely.
work request. The other things I would consider pretty minor that Toby can do. One would be the office that used to be the superintendent's office over there has a deadbolt lock on it. And I believe it looks like the rooms down that hallway had deadbolts on it because you can see circles where it's just a plate over it. That's not allowed, so that's gotta come out. So,
Does the computer room have strobes and all that in it?
no.
Oh, yeah, you're talking major.
Money.
Well, it doesn't need strobes in it.
Why not? All the rest of them did.
You're just down the hallway, don't you?
Your divided room, I remember the one room that can be divided, we had to have double strobes in it in case we ever put up a wall when we built that one. Going out to the playground, the one on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not mention anything other than,
Okay. Well, maybe the
Fire
strobes are
detector.
just part of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it all comes together.
Along with that, I had left on your table something that looked like this. That's from the 10-year study. Mine only focuses on the A items because those are the important ones for this year. You can see items on the right side with an X have already been taken care of. Under status, you see A's, B's, C's, D's, E's, F's, G's, and H's. And the
Only
back.
see 1A.
What?
Only see 1A.
A, B, C's, D's,
He has
E.
his own thing
Oh.
on there.
The code's on the back. The second page will tell you what that means.
Okay.
You're thinking of the life safety code.
Yeah, I am. Okay,
Oh.
go ahead.
That's my code as far as
Your own code, I got it now.
status,
Okay.
where it sits. A would be, I talked to the architect about it because, I'll give you this example. A, if you, the stairwell we have outside, it's got that gate around it,
Mm-hmm.
so people can't go down there.
Or fall down there.
Or fall
yes.
down there, it's padlocked shut. He
Mhm.
says we can't have a padlock on it.
Right,
I said, okay, what are my other options? I'm waiting to hear back.
okay.
So he understood my point, but he's like, technically it's not supposed to be chained shut. He said if there's a fire and a person's down there to get out, they have to be able to get out. I said, well, we can't really put a crash bar on there because somebody could reach through. So
Yeah.
he was kind of looking into the idea of just having a ladder in there that a person could use to climb out with. I,
No,
You'd have to put the ladder on the step.
because you need a ladder on the other side to get back down.
So what's your solution, Randy?
I haven't got one, but
Well, me either.
you can't, then you got a ladder to climb on both sides.
well, I think we were just kind of spitballing ideas at the time. So
Yeah, just throwing
if he comes
things out.
back with a ladder, I'll shoot him down.
Okay,
Unless it's a chain ladder.
Oh, that's
Sure.
true.
Maybe flip it over.
I have one in my closet you can take, it's a chain ladder.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, so you can see a number of them are completed. A number of them have been, got work orders on them, and there's a couple that are blank because I need to talk with him because I don't know what he's talking about or where he's talking about. You know, vestibule 100. Can anybody tell me where vestibule 100 is in my building? It's not on any map. So,
Okay.
are there any questions on that? Okay.
Totally confused, so that's okay.
Oh, perfect. That was my goal.
Looks like you have a lot of work orders already, but yeah.
We had reading night last Thursday. K2 had I thought it was a real good crowd for that. As typical, have my chair and my carpet and I read to kids is one of the stations. We had a really nice turnout. If there aren't already pictures on the website, I know they were. Okay, there are already. I know they were getting those taken care of. Tonight, if you noticed a parking lot, my parking lot was a little crowded. Pinewood Derby there tonight. And so I was actually over there checking out the kids and they were kind of excited I was there. I started at 6, so I missed the racing, but we had 23 kids there, I think, so from the different dens. So it's nice to see a good representation.
And we're glad to have them back in the school. That's good.
Last Friday was the reward for the fundraiser. It was a half day. We did it in the afternoon. Kids did not miss school. Went to the trampoline park. Nobody got hurt. Kids all seemed to have a real good time. Had a couple teachers come with, as well as 5 or 6 parents, I believe. And it was a neat park.
Stephanie was there, she could.
And I heard nothing but good feedback.
Good. And you know what was really
You were
neat?
even there.
Yeah, I was there the majority of the time. I was not bouncing, but I was there.
I heard that too.
What was neat, we had a kindergarten student with the flu. And so when I got there, I said to Jay, our representative, I said, you know, I got 26 kids, but only 25 came, one was sick. He said, great, we'll give him a VIP pass.
Oh,
So that kid gets to come back
Nice.
for an hour free pass whenever they can. And I called Mom when I got back and she was just thrilled. Because, of course, the sick kid's heartbroken. But I'm like, thank you for not sending him. We don't need to do that.
Right.
Bouncing up and down, eating pizza. This Friday is 100 Day, so kindergarten and first grade to some degree will be celebrating that day.
I always like to go to schools when they do that.
Yeah, that's fun.
You know what's neat? I think Mrs. Graffis actually started it last year. Maybe an app on her phone which takes a picture of the kid and then it ages them. And so Mrs. McIndoller was showing me the pictures today because she's following suit with it of these kids who, I mean, you know, they're, what, 6 years old and they look like they're 100.
That's what other school does, they all dress up as little elderly
Yep,
people.
kindergartners tend to dress up on Friday.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Good. They're learning something. All right, any questions? I have a few questions that's not just to Mr. McCormick, so you can sit down, Mr. McCormick.
Thank you.
Anybody can answer these, but they need to. Para-meeting scheduled when?
20th February is.
February 20th, I
February
believe.
20th. February 20th.
Okay. Head lice checks.
We were
Handbook,
discussing that.
oh, okay.
I
Handbook
just
says
missed
twice a
it.
year.
But I just asked Ms. Reagan about a second one in our building.
Yeah, we just, yeah,
Take care of
that's, one was President's Day is what I threw out, and that's what he said, they were not here, so I have to give him another day.
I thought you guys were talking about the handbook.
No, we're talking about headlight checks.
Okay. All right, what about Parkview? Can you handle that or no?
I don't know. I probably could do both the same day, but I have to look at my calendar.
Can you get with Mr. Johnson then? Thank you. We keep talking about this life safety work, and Toby can do this and Toby can do that. Is Toby gonna be able to?
Some of the projects we can't. Especially,
I know somebody said we'll have to get electricians in, but the stuff that he can do, does he have the time to do it, is what
Do it
I'm
all.
asking. Yeah.
Can you do it by
maybe not
yourself?
do it all,
Yeah.
maybe not do it all, but if we have 10 things he can do in one building, maybe he can do 5, I'm
Well,
guessing.
maybe we need to think about hiring somebody else to help Toby. He has to be our employee, we have to hire him. But we've gotta get all this done too. And I'm sure it's cheaper if we,
Do it ourselves.
yeah, better than
Hiring a
having
contractor.
contractors come in. Okay, that's all.
Good point.
So we need to start scheduling like once a month or something and have him start doing some of that stuff.
I think they
I think
send
they
the
already
work
have them.
orders.
Oh, they have.
Yeah,
Okay.
the work orders are coming in and I think they hand them out, but,
Yeah, because Mick had put like 12:07 for work orders and
And that's
12:10.
fine, okay.
right, but I'm just not sure how much time the man has, you know, to
Right.
give us.
Right, or how much time is it gonna take to get all this done? I mean, we
Right.
need to-
Gotta have the eggs done this year.
Exactly, that's why I'm thinking, so if we need somebody else, we need to probably, that is not in the contract, so that would be an at-will employee, so we
Yeah,
could
have to
just
hire.
hire. Okay.
Because the A's have to do that this year.
Mhm. Yes. All right. Through all that, committee reports. Did you want to talk about Homewood yet and the stuff you had, or do you want to wait? Wait, okay. So I think you're feeling a little bit better.
I was good, just getting my
Okay.
stuff done first.
All right. Policy.
Go
And-
fund me.
In your packet, we have a school injury accident report. I had to ask for clarification. The first 2 pages are the one we use. It says school injury accident report form. And the Illinois Form 45, employer's first report of injury. That is what we are currently using.
So the first one for students and the second one is employees.
Yes, well,
We use the
Workman's
first,
comp.
we use the first one. The first one is used for both employees and students.
Okay.
okay,
Second one is what has to be sent to workers' comp. It's Illinois
state form.
form. It's a state form.
If it's a workman's comp issue.
If it's a workman's comp
All right.
injury.
Okay. I was wondering.
okay. The next one is a report that Mr. Giddens brought. Mr. Giddens, I'm gonna let you have it.
Okay, the first
Very
report,
detailed.
Very.
Technical
I
report.
borrowed it from the Army. I just built some blocks, changed some of the headings and that. But the first report I've never seen before, and the second report I've seen before for schools, and it tells you nothing. I mean, to me, it doesn't, you do that report, that state form, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Just a state report.
yeah, it doesn't help a whole lot. That third report that you see that has a lot of information, the Army uses that, not only that there's an accident, but it gets you, the person filling out the report, to thinking and asking, you know, questions and that. You have to stop, you just can't race and fill out the form. And the purpose of it is, when you're all done, how do we prevent that accident from happening again? You know, what preventive action can we take, or what should have been done? I'm not saying, now after seeing that we have a school report, I'm not saying we try to use the form I brought in. I mean, I'd like to have input from the administrators and everything else, if they want to go to that link, but also
Very
keep it around.
detailed.
Well, I mean, if you, when you say fall,
Yeah.
did you fall from an elevation, fall at the same level, and things like that? Just a little thing in there might make a difference. So when a person sits down and goes through all this, then you write a summary. Now what can we do to prevent this from happening again? I mean, it is a military report, we use it worldwide. And there's a manual that went with it. And it talks about like, if there was a witness, like I think last year and this year, I heard something, out there was conflicting information. The person taking this report needs to make sure we document that, document witness. The manual that goes with the report I showed you tells you how to talk to a witness. I mean, I did the form, I'm not no safety person. I had to go to school and everything else to do it because I was assigned that job as an additional duty. But when I had to fill out the report, I just followed the instructions, and I think the only other time I've had to ask mechanics to help me, look vehicles over and things like that.
Yeah, that's,
You get your experts, you fill it out, then you have to report to the higher command what happened and how do we prevent it from happening again. It was our goal. But like I said, it is real detailed, it is time consuming, but when the report's done, if you ever gotta come back to it, for whatever reason, a few months later, there shouldn't be a whole lot of questions. And I remember like when you're interviewing a witness, it's pretty much just a blank. You sit there and you keep your mouth shut, the person doing the interview. You let them tell everything. Now, if there's something that you think they may have witnessed or something, then how to ask the question without leading it and everything else. I mean, the manual talks you through it. So, I mean, because you got high brass reading these reports and everything else.
a little bit different from school.
Yeah, see, quite a bit that's not relevant.
I think the school injury report that we have
Has a lot.
here is actually asking pertinent information. So it's asking you place of incident, it's asking you the time, it's asking them specifically what they were doing, where it happened at, what was the injured person doing, the specifically, was it an unsafe act or condition?
Right, which would go along with the other one.
Right, so I mean, it is asking you to point, where this person, what part of the body was injured, even though half of this part of this is cut off. And then it's wanting to know on the back side, who they, I think that says who were they notified. I don't know if it says anything on here about who were the witnesses. That might be.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, that might be something.
Our copies are cut off.
Yeah, that
so
might
it's
be
hard to
something
see.
that we would want to make sure is on here. And then, okay, maybe that's where that.
And
Yeah,
the
the
preventing
second
is on
box.
here.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then,
Yeah, they get cut off.
where did it happen at? It has restrooms on here, classrooms, labs, science room.
Yeah, like pool,
Gymnasium.
it doesn't really apply, but.
Right, and then it says here, it looks like the third or fourth column, section down. Maybe it says, what suggestions do you have for preventing
Right.
other accidents of
So
this
it
type
has
from
that.
happening again?
Mhm.
I think that's good. The only thing in my suggestion would be, is if we had like a camera or something, like if they slipped and fell, whether it would be a liability accident or a work comp accident, let's say they slipped and fell in water or something, is to actually go and take a picture of that. If they saw.
Attach it to the form.
To attach it to the form, okay? Especially if someone like slipped and fell outside, if it was icy. And maybe this is more for a liability accident, like someone came in that was a client of ours or a kid or something, is that someone would actually go out and take a picture of the water when we were investigating accidents from years ago, okay? Or the pothole or something, that there's the pothole or whatever.
And they fell.
Right. Right, so, but I mean, maybe that's not even necessary because, how would you know? But that's the only other thing that I could think of. So it's almost like everything is done here that's on this. This Form 45 from the state, I agree, is ridiculous, but that's the only
That's a
thing.
state form.
That's the only thing that we
Not a
can
choice.
do, that's the state form, because nothing's really on there. But this other form, Randy, is so I mean, it's a great form, but it's almost too much.
Overwhelming.
It is.
A lot of it's not applicable
It's
because we
overwhelming.
don't, not everything's an OSHA, because it says OSHA,
Yeah.
Right, and so much of it doesn't apply.
right, and how many hours
What were you
of
doing,
sleep did you get?
firefighting?
OSHA 300, yeah.
It almost looks like the form I
Yeah.
had to fill out just to go to the chiropractor the other day, and I almost walked out of the place thinking, what the heck?
But I would say on
Want my
our,
DNA too?
I would say on our form, it says immediate action taken. And it's cut off, so I'm not sure, it says something about treatment and to school nurse. We don't have a school nurse.
We do
So-
this out.
No, not really. She's a one-on-one nurse that's there sometimes and sometimes she isn't. So, I mean, could we kind of say immediate action taken, report to administrator? Because sometimes, they might not even know the person got hurt.
Well, sometimes this is the thing, if you slipped and fell at work, I mean, if you legitimately slipped and fell at work, okay, sometimes you hop up out of embarrassment, okay?
Right.
I think, oh, I'm okay. I don't want anyone to know I fell because I'm an idiot, all right, and I slipped and fell, and I know that's me, okay? I slipped and fell. Well, you don't realize that you actually hurt yourself until you get home, and the next day you're like, oh my God,
Can't
I
move.
am
And then
so
workman's comp
hurt.
doesn't pay because you didn't yell, I'm hurt.
I am so hurt, okay? So then you go to work and you're like, you know what, I fell yesterday at work. And they're like, really? You actually fell? Why don't you come in here and tell somebody? Well, you're an idiot because you didn't go in and tell anybody.
Right, because you thought it was
We
just a sprain or,
Right.
But we have all the cameras in the building in most spots. There's some spots they don't care, covers.
So that's what I'm
true.
saying, is that sometimes you just don't think because you're embarrassed because you made a fool out of yourself.
but nowhere in this form does it say report to administrator, your injury. So, I mean, I would just like somewhere to say, I don't know.
Well, and that maybe we can add something about that, because I think even at my husband's work at the Journal, if you get hurt in your workplace, you're supposed to go and report it. Not
Right,
that
to me,
we
somewhere-
want to
Supervisor.
Yeah.
have all these claims coming in, because my God, we don't.
Right.
But if you're hurt on the job, you're supposed to report it.
You're supposed to call the district office, aren't you?
Well, when they get hurt, I don't know why this is all some kind of issue. When they get hurt, they fill out an accident report.
Okay.
The principal gets the accident report, usually signs off on it, if there's any witnesses, and then it comes over here.
Okay.
I can tell you with a big long form like Randy has, because we have a hard time getting the employees
Getting
to
what
fill
you
out
get.
what you got there, the
Right.
2 pages. And they'll say, I mean, they're really good about saying, my arm hurts, I probably should have it checked out. We send them to iWork.
Mhm.
That's the process. They report it, and we're supposed to send them to iWork. Now, we've had a couple employees that don't like iWork, so they wait, go home, seek medical care, and then come in and tell us they're hurt. But if they're hurt and they seek medical care, they have to fill out an injury report.
Okay.
Then I fill out the state form and I send it to our workman's comp. That's when we back out of it and let workman's comp take care of it. That way it doesn't put the employer and the employee
Right.
having to deal with an injury.
Mhm.
They have to deal with workman's comp.
But isn't the policy and in their contract is that they have to go to iWorks if they're hurt?
They have to go to
Yes,
Our
they-
doctor.
Right.
And that is-
So
It
they-
doesn't say iWorks.
Okay,
No.
but our doctor, so they don't, I'm just saying, I see going to their own doctor as well, but I thought they still had to go to our doctor.
But I think what she's saying is later that night it starts bothering them and they end up in the ER.
Which is
Yeah.
fine, but then they still should
Yeah.
go to
And we
the
have done
iWorks
that.
doctor.
We have done that. We send them to our-
Exactly.
Mrs. Barton, did you have
I was
input?
just gonna add, with this form, I mean, I fill them out all the time, it seems
That's
like.
not good.
No, but in PE, a kid jams a finger.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
not personally.
And so when it says like treatment,
Right.
all we ever write there is ice given by Miss Barton, or ice given by
Secretary.
Miss Smith, and so we put the name, and then we put on there what treatment we gave them.
Okay.
And then we sign off on it. And the principal always has to sign off on those too, so the administration does know when
So that's the
it's
process.
a kid or a staff member.
So
It's
both
that
sign off.
form,
Right.
and it always goes to him.
Okay, thank you.
I think honestly, if we make it any more elaborate, I just think it's gonna get ridiculous. You know, I think as long as it's reported and it's the kid's name and it's documented, I don't think it needs to be any more than that. Now, if the kid bangs his head on something, or something's protruding, or some invader comes into the building, honestly, not that we wanna take pictures of that kind of crap, but I think that maybe we need more documentation. Something more needs to be done. Now, I'm sure that something more would be done because you'd be documenting more information. So I'm not saying what you've done isn't right.
Is that something though, as a staff member, that we're allowed to take a picture of a child with an injury?
No, and
That's what I
probably
thought.
not, probably not.
That's why.
That's
They
why
would
I'm
have to sign
saying,
it.
what I'm saying is probably not even valid, because by that time, we're gonna have police in here.
Yeah.
You know
Not
what I
only that,
mean?
though, if the ambulance and things there, you could get that ambulance report.
Exactly, and you'd have an ambulance
Right.
report,
Yeah.
so.
So are we good with just keeping what we have now?
I'm
Not
I
happy?
think we're good with it. The only thing I see missing with it, and I have a question first. I understand staff fills this out when it's involving a student, but if it's involving a staff member, who fills it out?
The staff member.
Okay, why isn't an administrator going through and know anything about it?
But
And
it's-
asking what caused the accident. The administrator should know what's reoccurring in his building.
Yes. Okay.
He has to sign it, she said.
Right, the staff
Okay.
member
Principal
fills it out, then
signature.
it goes to the principal.
Right, it says they have to sign it. The second page.
Or if Stephanie falls
It's cut
down,
off.
then Mr. Whiston has to sign off on it.
Their
or something.
superior.
Their superior, yeah, supervisor.
Okay,
Then it
I
also,
just-
then it also comes over here.
Mhm.
Superintendent sees it,
Regardless.
regardless.
Okay.
And if it's a non-medical, if they didn't seek any medical services, it goes in one file. We do not have to report it if there's no medical services.
Okay.
If there's medical services, then the state form's filled out, it sends it to the state, and then our workman's comp company takes over.
Okay, so that's regardless if they file a workman's comp case. It automatically just goes?
No, they have to have some kind of reportable medical case that workman's
Okay, but
comp needs to
If you
figure
get
out.
hurt and you're off 2 days, workman's comp doesn't kick in.
No, yes,
So does that report go or not?
yes, if they saw any kind of medical services.
Okay.
Okay. Also, I can see what Randy's saying.
Even if they don't file
You
a
mean, if someone fills this out, they might have offered, I mean, they might have went to the doctor, left, went to the doctor, the administrator might not know anything about it because he's not there with them filling it out. Is that what you mean?
well, part of knowing, I'm stuck on how do I prevent this accident from
Right.
happening. A lot of times when I'm sitting there interviewing and going through the process, by the time I'm done, we can see, was there a way to prevent it? Once in a while you'll have an accident. It's out of your control. You got rear-ended sitting at a stop sign, it's out of your control. The driver couldn't do it, bus driver couldn't do anything about it. Okay? But if there's something they want to make, I'm looking at how do I prevent this from happening again when I was filling out that report. Now, if nobody stops and thinks about it, I just sign it and put it in a file. I don't want to see that happening.
Well, Randy, if
Just sign.
somebody slips and falls at that water fountain, okay, and then 2 days later, another teacher slips and falls at that water fountain, that's
Well,
not.
now you know you got a leaky fountain.
Well, I think they're gonna know that, okay, there's an issue. If the principal doesn't know that, then Stephanie or somebody better, some red flag better show up somewhere.
Right, that people keep falling in the water fountain.
Yeah,
Right.
we've got an issue somewhere.
But I also want to make sure it doesn't say it in here, I don't think. It's very important, if there's witnesses, you get their statements too.
But that's, if that gets turned, that's what the workman's comp insurance does.
This isn't just workman's comp. Not all slip and falls are workman's comp.
I see what Randy's saying, to prevent it from getting that injured.
Keep repeating.
Yeah.
And we flag those, trust me, we
Well, I
watch
just meant
them.
if there's a witness and things like that,
Yes,
they can say.
yes.
I would like to make a comment. I know we had a faculty member injured, she had never fell at a great distance, but she just fell. And I was over there and she had hit her head and Mr. McCormick was filling it out and asking good question. Okay, are you for sure? No, I'm not for sure, okay. Where did you fall? Tripped over a kid, are you sure? Okay. was the kid stepped on? No, the kid's okay, I just fell. Mr. McCormick was real, because they said, get over there, there's been an accident, so I was there, with plenty of people really looking at it. And they do a good job, I think.
Okay, do we need to add anything to the form?
I don't think so.
I can see what Randy's saying though. Mr. McCormick filled it out. There's nowhere that says who fills it out.
I think it depends on the incident.
I know.
You know, if you're laid out on the floor, you're not gonna fill it out.
No.
We've got signatures, principal or staff member.
I guess what I'm trying to also say that if teachers filling it out for students, you don't hand this form to a student and have them fill it out and turn it in.
No.
That's
I
true.
don't think it's saying,
But
we
she
should be
said
doing that
sign
with
off.
staff either,
The principal-
because staff is,
That's what he's saying. Maybe you should-
may
someone should
feel-
fill it out for them.
I've tripped and fell. I'm gonna do my accident report real fast and just turn it in, very simple. But if somebody's sitting around asking me questions, I may have to give more detail and prevent it from happening again. Or is there something we need to look at? Is there something we're in too big of a rush? Or is there too much horseplay?
So
Whatever.
it sounds
Are
like,
you hearing something when you fell in a pothole?
it sounds like the recommendation is we need to add a line stating who completed this form. So we know who completed it, and I guess in statement asking were the witnesses interviewed as well.
Their statements.
Okay. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Can we do that, Mrs. Walton?
Okay.
Okay, 2 lines. What?
The person that's injured should be the one to fill out the form and sign it.
Yes, I agree.
That, bottom line. And then when I fill out the state form, I take it word for word off of what the person that was injured said on the form.
But just like the 2 instances we just had, the students don't fill it out. And then the one that fell and hit her head, she couldn't fill it out. So not all instances where they're going to be completing it.
Right.
Was the form filled out?
Does it matter who actually
Goodbye.
writes on the form, or is it if the administrator is questioning? You know?
Listen, under the Illinois state law, the employee has a right to turn in their own work comp form to the state.
This isn't work comp. This is
No.
just an injury.
No,
But
that
I'm,
goes with it.
For the
saying.
student, it should be adult, somebody over
Yes.
the age of 18 that fills it out. So no, the
Correct.
students do not fill out their own
Should not
injury
fill out
report.
Okay, where did we get this
The
form?
thing is
The insurance company, I don't even know where, I don't have it on my computer, so we'd have to recreate it or contact the insurance. They went over
Then
our
why would
form.
we change it if our insurance company
Because you-
gave it to us?
how many years
Well, that's true.
Well, the question is because there was an exhibit in our policy manual, which I don't know if you still have them from our policy meeting, that they were wanting us to adopt. That's where it all came
This
up.
is where this came up from, this policy meeting.
But I don't remember what that one looked like.
It was more detailed than the ones we have. I remember seeing it because I thought, wow.
But I didn't
And
bring
what
my
Stephanie
policies.
said about getting them filled out, we have a hard time getting filled out, just a page and a half.
And
Make
like
it
I
more-
said, when I fill the state form, I take it word for word what the employee documented on that
Mhm.
form. I send it in, workman's comp. So,
Well, because this is admissible in court.
That's a
Okay.
state
Right.
form.
Yeah.
What if, and who's playing devil's advocate, what if the employee files for workman's comp and the administrator filled out the form and they said, well, that's not what I said?
But they both signed.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
admissible in
what she
court.
said.
right.
The only difference is if the teacher's filling out for the child. That's the only thing I see that would be different. Because you, like you said, anyone under 18 shouldn't be filling it out. So what was your suggestion, Savannah? You said add to 2 lines. What were they?
Who completed this form?
Okay.
And
And
then
were witnesses interviewed, and then a spot for that and what their words were.
There was a signature on it.
Nick?
There, but I
Your
don't think
hands
that
up
you
high.
have to have a witness.
Go ahead, Mr.
signature.
McCormick.
What about adding a line signature of employee?
I think it's on
It's
there.
already on there.
It's on there.
See, that's where I'm getting confused.
Yeah, it says
Principal
teacher
We're
or
saying
staff
because it could be
member.
different.
Oh, okay.
Right, if the principal fills it out like Dave said, and then she can say, that's not what happened, I remember
Didn't
now.
she ended up filling
Or
out her own?
if she fills
I
it out.
think so.
Okay. That's a,
He was just
For once.
asking the question, but she filled it out.
She actually filled, yeah, because it has to be signed by the employee.
Mhm.
my bad.
Seventh, I think. Just trying to figure out what date that was.
Oh, okay.
And attached witness statements.
Sure. I was just getting off what you were saying.
Yeah, I know you said something about witness, just say attach witnesses statements. That way it's all with one together.
But then you would have, yeah. I don't know if you have a different form for witness or not.
Why don't we contact our insurance company and see if they have an updated form?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, because this
Let's
past
try
week I heard there was an incident, told two things. The information didn't match up. So what, who told me the one, and this is what happened, who said something different? Who is it? I mean,
You're gonna go by the form,
yeah,
regardless. The
but-
rest of it could be rumors.
so who's the witness? No, I mean, they
The
were both
witness
together.
witnessed it.
No, okay. Okay,
We'll contact them.
contact the insurance company, see if they can give us an updated form and bring it back to us, okay? All right. Oh, boy.
I'm just,
Okay, Mrs. Tyler, go ahead.
So I passed out what I created and feedback please on this. So the first sheet, this was just a quick form that I
Okay.
threw together for requests. So just different things we're looking for whenever someone requests to do the online fundraising. And then I went and looked at, our solicitation by and from staff policy, which I know that one's kind of different, so I did put in here recommendations for changing that. So you can agree with that or not, I'm fine either way. And then the third page, I really took that one that you sent out to everybody already and just added a few things. The only thing that once I really started thinking about it, I wasn't sure if you guys wanted to do that about, doing their requests by grade level. Just because I don't know if I agree with it, just because each teacher could have different needs, even by grade level. So I was kind of torn on putting that in here.
You're on the sheet too.
Yeah.
That's kind of up to the board. At least it gives us some rhyme or reason, but then I started thinking, what about PE? Would that mean that Mrs. Barton and Mr. Nettles would have to fundraise for the same thing? Because,
Right.
you know, or music. They have a music teacher at LaSalle, band at Parkview, would they have to get together? Or is that separate? You know, when you
Yeah.
start really thinking about it, then you start,
That's what I was thinking. I wouldn't want to do the grade level. I'm fine with having a limit on how many is being done. And I did put in here, I think I put like 3 within a quarter semester or something,
2 per quarter.
2 or something.
but then you
But-
get,
Personally, I think that's too many, but.
well, then you get the second grade or first grade, it doesn't really matter. One teacher's wanting one thing, and so she's trying to fundraise, and the next teacher's want, so are they competing?
Right, if one wants this book and someone else wants.
Right,
Yeah.
or do we do it all together?
They split the.
Yeah, I know, I mean, I went back and forth with it, I'm
Yeah.
not sure there's advantages and disadvantages.
Well, if we limit the
Okay.
number that they have, they might want to work together. I mean, it would be their choice.
That's true.
when you say limit, are we talking, who are you limiting?
The amount of GoFundMe fundraisers that we're doing.
For the
I was
building?
thinking For the
She
building.
has at the top, 2 per quarter per grade level.
Oh, per grade level? I was thinking
Yeah.
2 per quarter per building.
I was thinking
Oh,
1
okay.
per semester per grade level.
Okay,
but-
with principal and superintendent approval, you are allowed to have online fundraising opportunities at grade level 2 per quarter. All monetary donations will go through the district and show up on the monthly activity report. Okay. Non-monetary and monetary donations go through the district office. Items that are purchased will be sent to the district office to have appropriate stickers placed on them. They don't do it here, but we could fix that. Okay, so this would be the form that they would fill out to take to the principal, Savannah?
Right.
Okay.
Grade level 2 per quarter seems crazy to me. You could do 8 fundraisers in a year.
That would
In a
be-
grade.
yeah.
I just threw a number out
Yeah,
there.
right, just-
Right.
Yeah,
We
so
had to have
had-
somewhere to start.
Well,
Sure.
and not only that, though,
Okay.
it's not even 8 per grade, it's 8 per classroom. And that would be
Well, I
24 in one class, I mean, per grade almost.
Okay, then we need to narrow it down. What do you guys think is fair?
I would start with one per semester. For one thing, you don't want our teachers spending all their time writing up all these GoFundMes. I mean, you know, it's a lot to think about.
Right now, they haven't been able to do anything, so
Right.
one per semester?
That's just my, we have to have somewhere to start. And as we go
Right.
forward, if we see, you know, how
And
it
the thing
goes,
is,
it can
if it's
always
one
be
per
changed.
semester, you think there's 9 levels, 3 classrooms, that's still 27 per semester that you're asking the community to participate in.
It's
So
a big
Not
community out
necessarily
there.
the
No,
community.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
so 1 per semester, so it's doable.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like
Yeah.
it's, so am I taking out grade level?
I still like the grade level
Well, I'm
because,
just taking that out, but,
well, the reason I like it is like the furniture issue that we had before. You know, they're gonna be arguing, and then what kid is gonna get in that room? It's just gonna divide, I think, our class levels even more. If they could come together and work together, I think it'd be a
well,
good
I
thing.
put in the policy that it's district and it stays in that classroom, but I know there were other examples where, that was in the packet was they actually kept it with that teacher until they left, and then they decided later where it should go. But I put in here that it's,
Stayed in the room.
I think it
Yeah.
should stay in the room because the way our teachers move, it may not be applicable to take to the other school if they move schools
Right.
or age appropriate.
Okay, principals, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. What do you think would work out better, individual or grade level? We're talking about soliciting online. Gee, we need
Go find
literature
me
books or
novels.
or,
Extra novels.
we want orange tables and chairs, or it could
or
be anything.
scooters, or,
Or a field trip.
Or field trip. Do you think it would bring the levels together if we made them do it the same, or
I think.
different needs?
I'm just speaking off the cuff, talking thoughts from Parkview, but, I mean, 1 per grade level, I mean, I think that's fine, but I think we should also consider allowing our specialty teachers outside of the grade level, like PE, like you
Yeah.
talked tonight, band, you know, having some way to where those folks
Can do it
have an
also.
opportunity
Have a
to
separate
engage
one.
in this as well.
yeah.
Right.
But I mean, looking at the core teachers of Parkview, like our 3 teachers per grade level,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the 1 per semester per team, I think that would be a good start as long as we allow our specialty teachers to
Right.
engage as well.
Mr. McCormick, any input? Pros and cons.
You know, another option would be to allow each teacher to do 1 per year. And I'm part of the 2nd grade team. Okay, it's my turn. Hey, 2nd grade, let's all go together and we'll do this that benefits us. And next time when it's the other 2nd grade teachers, that might encourage them to do them together, but they would do it on their own.
So one of each?
They get 1.
They get 1.
But, you know, I'm a 2nd grade teacher, I can do mine 1 on my own, or I can involve my teammates in my 1 to benefit the grade, and then, okay, when Stephanie does hers for 2nd grade, we all go together
So then
again,
it's
but this time
3
it's
per grade
Stephanie.
level. Then it would be 3 per grade level per semester.
Yeah, that's,
Per year.
Per year.
that's a little gray then.
Well, and if you use the field trip as an example,
Okay.
what if 2 teachers do the GoFundMe for the field trip, and the other one decides to buy books for a classroom,
Johnny
those kids
doesn't
don't get to go on
go.
the field trip, that's gonna cause all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Becky has one.
Oh,
Well,
go.
but per grade level for Parkview would be difficult, I think, because we're departmentalized. And so for sixth grade,
Yeah.
you know, the science teacher may want to do one because she really needs this science equipment to benefit her class. But is the math teacher or the English teacher? So
Yeah.
since it's different, I mean, and so I don't know
That
how
is
you would
different.
work that. And like for seventh grade, you have your ELA teacher, your math teacher,
Social studies.
social studies, and science. So how do you decide which teacher gets to benefit? Because we're all departmentalized.
That's a good point.
Have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep working on the policy.
That's why I didn't wanna do the
Exactly,
grade levels,
there's-
because there's different needs for,
And I can't believe the
Well,
state has
maybe
not come down
Parkview
with one yet.
could be one per
We make policy for the
one per
district though.
year per teacher, and then over here, LaSalle, they could get 2 per year per grade level.
We make policy for 2 separate schools.
Yes, because the needs are
Why
different.
is fifth and sixth grade different then?
Because some of the teachers do just math.
6th grade. is.
Fifth grades would be,
Still
would work.
Right.
Still
6, 7, 8 would be the
self-contained.
problem.
So maybe you
Visit.
could do something for field trips and say, if this is for field trips, if you are all third grade or all second grade,
by grade level.
then
for
it
both.
has to be all encompassed for your grade groupings or
But then they
something
might not
like
do it
that.
for field trips, because
Or
they
then
might
the
think,
principal says, the principal says, no, only 2 of the classrooms doing it, the third one, I'm rejecting this GoFundMe project. For that reason,
that's
'cause if
true.
the 3 of you can't come together,
Because
I
you
don't
wouldn't
know.
wanna leave Johnny's classroom out.
Exactly.
just because we approve this doesn't mean the policy's automatic for every project you bring up.
Right, that's true.
It has to
Maybe
be
it should
beneficial.
for grade level.
It might be for grade level. I mean, even if one teacher, say in first grade, got a bunch of bouncy balls. You know, they went to do some physics thing and it's easier to do it that way. You know, maybe it would be beneficial for all the teachers to do that. Because everyone's like, oh, she's got a neat classroom, she's got all these.
I think it'd be great to start paying for speakers to come in.
Yeah,
You can have your own-
can principals do one too? Do we each get one?
It's not in policy yet.
We're still working on it.
Superintendent gets one,
Go
the
fu-
principal.
go fund.
Yeah, be creative, do your GoFundMe.
So now we better look at 1 per year per teacher. Because this group thing isn't gonna work, I don't think.
I think it
Unless
would
you
work.
make 2 separate ones. But couldn't you put in there that grade level groups is encouraged when appropriate? Because like, now I understand what Mr. McCormick's saying.
When is it not appropriate?
Well,
The
When
thing
is it not appropriate that little Johnny in this classroom doesn't have the same opportunity as this classroom?
Are we just talking
well, that's
strictly
the
field
appropriate
trips
part
or
because
altogether?
field trips, that would not be appropriate.
Well, but the thing is one
I
teacher might think, I want novels, I don't really care if they go on that field trip. And
that's what's
then,
gonna happen.
so, exactly,
I
and
get
the parents are
field
complaining
trips.
then.
Mhm.
The kids are
Because the
complaining.
opportunities are not the same.
I can add a line saying for field trips, that's only by grade level, but what is the difference now in what teachers purchase?
But the problem is some teachers might not do field trips anymore because they might think, let's just not do field trips because I want this.
We have teachers that don't want to do field trips.
Exactly.
And you do have teachers that purchase their own things for their own room, but it's not funded by the district. That's the difference.
And it's not district property at that
But
point.
it's still coming back to what you're saying, little Johnny in this class is
Different
mad
opportunity.
because they don't
agree
have
with
that.
it.
So it's
That's
still,
true. That is true.
I mean, you can't stop it either way.
That's true.
More research needs to be done.
Yes,
We're just
still,
gonna have to
And so you
agree.
understand,
right.
special ed has different needs than some of the regular classrooms. PE has different needs than I mean, all of that, how do we word it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, that's part of the puzzle, it wasn't just strictly grade
I
level.
mean, I do like the
How
grade
do we
level for
make
them
it-
working together as a team. I mean, I think that would be good team building,
Maybe we
relationship
could do,
building.
they get one on their own and one as a grade level.
for the year.
But like Mrs. Barton said, how is that gonna work at Parkview then?
Because they go on field trips too at Parkview.
Mhm.
They went to, I mean, they went to,
But what are your groups at Parkview then? How are you going
well, it's
to
one,
define the group?
well, one
Homeroom?
per grade level,
You would have to go
and
by
then one
homeroom.
per teacher.
Oh, so they have,
Would that
They
be
would have two
possible?
opportunities.
Alternate
They would have two opportunities, one per teacher,
So
one
straight
per grade level. Per
I like
year,
that.
and be done.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that
No,
either.
that's okay, 1 and 1.
Right, yeah.
But
I
you would
like
have to go, you can't go by groups at Parkview because,
They come field
Mr.
trips as groups.
Yeah, but Mr. Bradford, he's 7th and 8th grade teacher, so you can't just go 7th and 8th. You're gonna have to go homeroom, or he gets multiple opportunities.
Well, he would
Or
get a
math.
7th and 8th, he would get a 7th grade and an 8th grade.
because he teaches both.
Right.
No, he gets 1 single and 1 group, right?
Per grade level.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Yes, Mr.
I
Norman.
hear that.
Mrs. Barton.
She's excited she gets 4.
She gets 4.
Yeah, I have all 4 grade levels.
But
For
Mr.
example,
Thompson gets
she's got-
5.
I know he wins.
See, we can't do that. That's not,
I get it.
you know what I'm
Homeroom.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have to go, well, and if you go homeroom, Mrs. Barton doesn't have a
Thanks for being
homeroom.
honest,
Right,
Mrs.
then you're
Barton.
gonna,
Oh, you just let them do
Winner,
one,
winner,
one
chicken
for
dinner.
PE and one for girls PE, one combined.
Same thing with the music. Mr. McCormick, help us out here.
Well, here's another thought, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, because I believe at one point in time, we talked about having like a single account set up for LaSalle, so they were all kind of controlled through that, not everybody having their own different GoFundMe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, who does that fall onto? Because we're talking about 30 different GoFundMe things within a, you know, I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
I've never set one up before, but I gotta think that's gonna eat up a bunch of my time.
I'm thinking you're right.
Right, especially if you do 3 per grade level.
I
Per
think we
semester.
better ease into this.
yeah.
Well, how I had it set up in here is the person requesting is the one that does all the setup. But when they set up like the fun part, that has to go through the school, through an account. But depending on which program they use, it would depend on how it's set up, because some will have it just directly to a bank, but some of them have it through that actual program itself. So it just depends on what they go through.
Well, I liked how she had hers done because she didn't get to touch any of it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's the way.
Comments
yeah.
that you had.
That's the way it should
To the school.
To the school.
And they
Right.
have no policy at all, right?
Nope, but that's the only one that they can choose.
The only one.
That's, as far as I understood, this is the one that they had to go through.
Donors
Okay,
choose, they have to
donor
use that
choice.
one.
And see, we haven't got there. We've kind of left it open.
Well, and again, both principals would still have to okay everything, so that would still eat up a lot of time.
Still, it would.
You know, and if they're behind, they're like, I want to start it tomorrow, and it's like, well, and we have to, it's like, how much notice I have to give the principal, and
Okay.
that's why I had it to where they set it up. They just can't, like you said, they won't touch the money. But they have to set everything up.
But somebody
But you
has to
still
watch
have
that money when it comes in and goes out, so that puts extra burden in on our principals and our
And
secretaries,
that's
whoever
doing
does
an
that.
awful lot of
They still
them.
have to okay that they could do it.
And if you have too many of these, you know, you got a part-time position you just created.
Yeah.
You got too many of these going. The
Okay,
biggest
more
thing I wanna
research.
see, the biggest thing I wanna see in GoFundMe is equal opportunities for all the students,
Okay, well, grade level.
right? That's,
Let's start off with one per school.
I was gonna say, maybe we should.
Yeah, because it
Looks
sounds
like
to
it.
me
That's a-
like
that's
it
a
might
lot.
be
I
a
was-
part-time
At least-
position for
At
somebody.
least see how it goes.
Yeah, just to see how it goes and how the flow
That's a
goes.
good idea.
We don't have anything right now. You want to put that in there, 1 per school? Or you
Do
just
something
want to
big.
okay with no policy and see how it goes?
No, I don't
No,
know.
I
Okay,
don't.
then, let's
No,
work
I
on
would
the
do
policy.
but
All right.
It might be a good place to start.
Okay.
Just a trial run and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, let's
One
table
per
it.
You said the one per
Okay.
school, you said.
Let's work on it.
One per school per
Wow.
year. Oh,
I
per
like it.
year. For right now, let's just see how
The
we.
starting point.
Okay.
I'm gonna try this semester.
Let's do a little bit of research
We don't know what
on
we're
this.
getting into yet.
Well, we only got one
Speaker
semester
would
left
be-
this year.
Like Brenda was saying. you know,
Speaker
make
would be
it-
good.
Yeah,
Because
because
there's
that
gonna
would
be
be
a big
for
fight if
everybody.
there's only one for the school.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right, you want this on the next agenda, or do you wanna wait?
Has to have-
Put it on the next agenda.
Okay.
It can go under the gym.
That way everyone can look at what I have in
Got it
there.
Next agenda, more discussion on this policy. I'll try to get some time to go dig
I
too.
think this is, even if you have one.
But it's just amazing that the money we pay to press and they haven't come down
I know,
with a policy on this yet. It's crazy.
technology.
I need to get with Miss Reagan and we need to set up a meeting to talk about possibly purchasing more Chromebooks for Parkview.
Okay. Parent-teacher advisory, I thought you were scheduling.
We are gonna talk about a meeting next month too, we're looking at dates.
Okay, all right. Food service,
Might be March now because,
Head lice.
no, because just school's out and different things.
sure. Okay. All right, are there any visitors left wanting to address the board? Okay, Mrs. Reagan, you ready?
Motion to enter an executive session for student matters, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of public body, collective bargaining matters between the public body and exclusive representatives of its certified employees, and review of executive session minutes from the regular meeting held December 12, 2017,
Second.
at 8:07.
Sorry.
Roll call, please.
I was anxious.
Giddens?
Yeah.
Aye.
Hagel?
Aye.
Bowregan?
Aye.
Tyler?
Aye.
Griner?
Aye.
Bailey?
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion to resume, please?
Make a motion to resume regular session at 9:05.
Second.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Catherine Reagan.
Aye.
Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Reiner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. There were no decisions made in executive session. Personnel was discussed. And student matters. Is there anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn at 9:05.
Second. Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Cat Reagan.
Aye.
Val Reagan. Tyler.
Aye.
Reiner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting adjourned.